Welcome to another edition of the Gridiron Report. I'm Jarret Johnson, and boy, I just want to say that right now, the big word that just keeps going through my head right now in terms of Texas Tech football is opportunity. What an opportunity the Red Raiders have after this 4-1 start, coming off the huge win. I mean, the must win really. The response from the terrible game in Texas, but then to go to Morgantown and beat West Virginia 23-20, and the way they did it, to play composed, play smart football, sound football, and now you have this opportunity. You come back home to the Jones after 2 games on the road. Like I said, 4-1. Great opportunity against an in-state, in-conference rival, TCU. Night game at the Jones, blackout, all the things that are entailed with that matchup and the setting and everything. Just what a opportunity this is for Matt Wells, his staff, his players to really build some momentum. You finish the first half of your season 5-1, which is really about as good as anyone could have asked for. I mean, obviously 6-0 would be the best, but play Houston in Houston, Texas in Austin, West Virginia in Morgantown, and then obviously you handle your business barely with Stephen F. Austin, but the 2 other non-conference at home, and now you got TCU at home. If you can win that game and move to 5-1, 2-1 in the Big 12, then man, that really sets up the rest of your season and gives you an opportunity to have a really good season that Texas Tech fans could be proud of and celebrate. And also, Coach Wells could use as a foundation to build the program moving forward with recruiting, just everything. I mean, this is a pivotal game against TCU. So I just wanted to, I even asked Coach Wells about that. Just, can you just speak to the opportunity? And he said what you'd expect. We all know every game's important and all that. But this is huge. The thing is this, obviously every game's huge for everyone, but this isn't just huge for Tech in terms of the context of where each program is, but for TCU coming off 2 straight losses to in-state opponents. They got roughed up against SMU. They really got pushed around in the running game and the run defense, which we're not used to seeing. And then, Texas beat them too. And TCU's had a lot of success recently against Texas. So, I mean, they really can't afford to lose obviously a 3rd game in a row, but to lose a 3rd game in a row to an in-state rival, in-state opponent would be, let's face it, that would be devastating for the program. Not that TCU couldn't survive it, or, Coach Patterson, who's been there forever, of course, couldn't survive it. I'm just saying, in the context of the season and what they're trying to accomplish, this is a huge game for the Horned Frogs as well. So that really sets up some excitement for that 6 p.m. kickoff at the Jones. Once again, I'm intrigued. They've pulled me back in with that performance in Morgantown. I think before we start getting into some of the matchups, obviously the injuries. The injuries really mounted up for Texas Tech heading into the game last week against Morgantown. And then during the game, they had some key injuries. So Coach Wells, and rightfully so, wouldn't share any of the guys that could come back, whether it be like Taj Brooks or Dawson Deaton or Eric Ezekama or Reggie Pearson, who got hurt, DeMarcus Fields, all those guys. They're going to be listed as day-to-day, and even if I, of course, from my vantage point, I wouldn't want to spill the beans. If I post something on our message board or on one of these videos, of course, TCU will know about it too, and they can prepare accordingly. I never know how much that plays into it, but, when you talk about a guy like, say, Eric Ezekama, that is a matchup deal. That is important. Or even Dawson Deaton, though Josh Berger did an exceptional job, and Ethan Card coming in at right guard. Josh Berger did a great job at center. Definitely want to tip my cap to him. But there are some guys out, Reggie Pearson too, in the secondary, where it could change the way TCU game plans. So we'll see who suits up and who plays. But we do know Chadarius Townsend, one of the reserve running backs and the primary kick returner, is lost for the season. Coach Wells updated that Tuesday during this press conference. He broke his basically he broke his scapula, a bone in the shoulder, and he's out for the season. He is available to come back next year if he wants to, but that was a big loss, in terms of special teams, because Chadarius Townsend was doing a good job, and it hurts depth in the running back room because he's a speed guy, a former 4-star guy, transferred in from Alabama. who wouldn't give him reps, not a lot of reps, but he's produced. So that's definitely something to consider. Is that Townsend's out for the season? I think Kalen Geiger, who's been very good at receiver, is going to more than likely take over the primary kick return duty. So that's something to consider. So, all right, in terms of the matchups, I think the first thing that I think about is TCU's running game. I mean, Max Duggan, Zach Evans is the type of talent that, is a five-star guy who had some issues, but then ended up at TCU, and, he's balling out for them. He's a star. Max Duggan has just torched Texas Tech in the past with his running ability. He's a tough guy. He's a problem. So the Red Raiders are going to have their hands full trying to stop that two-headed attack. And I asked Coach Wells about it. He said, that's it. I mean, it's those two guys, and they're exceptional. So, I think the hope is that the problems getting lined up, the problems really just competing like we saw in Austin, that was just an aberration, that what we saw in Morgantown, where they got off to that fast start. Colin Schooler had a monster game. He was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week, 15 tackles plus the strip sack fumble, which was huge. Helped Texas Tech get off to an early start. So you're going to have to, they're going to have to attack some. They're not just going to be able to sit back. But then also, we're going to have to see the team that had no problem getting lined up against Morgantown and was ready to go, and everyone knew their responsibilities, as opposed to obviously the team we saw in Austin. So, in talking with Rico today, Rico Jeffers, the senior linebacker, and then in talking with Wells, I feel confident that that's the team we're going to see Saturday night. Because if not, as Coach Wells so eloquently said, Duggan will house it. He's a home run hitter. So they're going to have to play discipline. They're going to play well, but they're also going to have to be aggressive. They can't sit back and react. They have to attack. I think that's going to be a real key. Rico Jeffers, Colin Schooler, they're going to have big games. And whoever's playing safety, they're going to have to help out a lot in run support. And they're going to have to give up some things in the passing game, in terms which hasn't been their strong suit, but they're going to have to roll the dice some with some man-to-man coverage, in my opinion, in order to in single coverage, in order to slow down this rushing attack. I think they could do it, though. I really do, especially with the emotion of the Jones being a blackout 6 p.m. game, all that thing, all that night game, all that goes on with that. Especially if I think it's going to be so important, just getting away just from rush defense, is getting off to another fast start. I mean, that was huge against West Virginia. I think Texas Tech needs to score first. They can build a lead and then kind of work their whole game plan from that. I think that will be I think that's a big part. That's a big key to the game. And then offensively, the offensive line did such a better job against West Virginia, who has one of the most respected and accomplished defensive lines in the Big 12. They did such a better job against them than they did the previous week against Texas, and which was surprising with Dawson Deaton out. So whether Deaton returns or not, I feel like they'll be able to run the ball some against TCU. Obviously, SMU had a lot of success just running right at TCU, and then Bijan Robinson did his thing for Texas. Tech doesn't have Bijan Robinson, but they have some really good backs. And it all starts with SaRodorick Thompson. If Taj Brooks is able to come back, that's another guy. But if not, between Brooks and Xavier White, they should be able to run the ball. And they were able to run the ball in the fourth quarter against West Virginia when they needed to. So I feel really good about that. It's what kind of chess match will go on between Sonny Cumbie and Gary Patterson. Obviously, they know each other very well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I think, Henry Colombi for Texas Tech has been very poised. He's looked really good. Again, I asked Coach Wells about that, and he just said that he said he didn't know if it's just that he's a better fit in Cumbie's system. He said that might have something to do with it, as opposed to Coach Yost, but also just the confidence that he has himself, gaining experience, getting to know some of the guys he's playing with better too, that he was consistently good in spring and fall camp, and now through 2 games been very good. And he expects him to play well the rest of the year, and honestly, so do I. I really like Henry Colombi. He just has that, I don't want to say I like the look in his eyes, but I kind of do. I like he seems tough, unflappable is a word comes to mind. I think he's a really good college quarterback, and I think Texas Tech can win a lot of games with him this year if they protect him. So I believe they will this week, and you know, as long as they don't give up that big strip sack or they don't force Columbia into like a pick six or something like that, I think this offense is going to have a lot of success. I think they have to take the big play when TCU sends pressure. Not only do they have to protect Columbia, but they have to be able to take advantage of it and create explosive plays. And this offense has shown it's capable of doing that, and so is Columbia. That he is willing to take those shots down the field, and he has the arm to do it. He's shown that. He has the arm to take those shots and complete those big passes in pressure situations. So, again, I circle back around to this word, opportunity. That Tech has such an opportunity this week against TCU, and I don't know which Texas Tech team is going to show up, but I'm really excited and intrigued to see what happens. Can't wait. I'll be there. I know a lot of you watching this are going to be there. For those who can't, again, 6 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. Can't wait for the game. With that, I want to thank you for watching, and until next time.